preguntas, that's Spanish for more questions. Yeah. Shin-Chan was a lot of fun because there was a lot of improvising and there was a lot of funny jokes and there were a lot of off-color jokes, obviously. But that's one of those shows where still, if I'm ever in the room with Peter, the engineer, Zach, the director, and myself, if we're all in the room together, it becomes nothing but Shin-Chan quotes back and forth to each other. It was very funny. It was a very silly series. Yes?
What if EA was inside the Shin-Chan world?
EA was in the Shin-Chan world?
Yeah, he probably was worried. He would die. Just implode immediately.
Why did someone just pee on my head? Yes, question. Oh yes, Ash from Black Butler. Yes, I know, I said Ash. Ash is one of my favorite characters to do because I appear at least 17% more handsome with a British dialect. Suddenly my homeless person beard seems eccentric. Like I could be your professor. Or I might have a magical wardrobe. I like British dialects. I like doing dialects in general. As an acting thing, like when people do dialects, it's never what you think it's never what you're doing wrong, it's what you think you're doing right on a dialect that makes it sound false. So I always say pick one change in a dialect, like in the Irish dialect, the I sound goes to E. So like try would be try, buy, fly, guy. I tried to buy that fly guy. I'd like buy a fly guy. But if you focus on just one vowel change or the one consonant change at a time, you'll get the dialect down a lot quicker. It's a little acting note about dialects. Yes, question, green hair.
Out of all the Black Butler characters, which one's your favorite other than yourself?
Myself. Oh, other than me? Probably Ash.
Yeah!
Wait, what do you mean?
Other than your character, other than Ash, other than you.
Oh, I'm gonna go with, after I conformed with that other person and we were another person, then I liked me too. No, I like Sebastian. Sebastian's awesome. And J. Michael Tatum is a really, really cool dude. So he's a nice person to have around at conventions. He always makes me laugh. And we always have a word off. He and I fancy ourselves as smart people. At least when it comes to vocab. Like if you get Colleen, Carol, and J. Michael Tatum and I in the same room, it's gonna become a vocabulary or article off. Like, did you read this article about quantum physics? It's really amazing. Oh, well, this one's about ancient languages. Why don't you try this one? Because we like to be smarty pants. Yes, question.
Was it fun voice acting to say
To play Dr. Stein in Soul Eater was amazing, especially getting to laugh like that. You don't get to laugh like that anywhere in life ever, except in an anime, without being arrested. Come up to the counter at McDonald's. Yes, can I take your order? Your food is terrible. Yes, question.
I'd like to say thank you.
You're welcome. No, I don't even need to know. No, okay, go ahead, tell me.
I actually went into theater classes in college, and I've been working in some professional theaters and some internships because of you and all my other inspirations growing up.
Give him a round of applause.
Mark Hamill, anyone who was big in my childhood watching cartoons.
That's awesome.
Hold up. Did you hear him? He said cartoon.
Anime.
No, I
Listen,
said
Mark Hamill.
Joker.
No, we're not going to do that
Mark
here.
Hamill Orbits is what I was talking about, but
Yeah.
I stay up till like midnight watching.
What are cartoons? You can say cartoons. I don't even care. You can say cartoons for anime in my panel. I'm in charge, green hair lady.
I used to stay up till midnight on Friday to start to catch Yu Hashi. My question was, how do you go about seeing the image of the character and then deciding on voice for them?
You know, I always choose sort of physically. I see the physical image and I'm like, oh, that character is, you know, wiry or thick or big or small or, you know, and then it sort of goes from there. And, you know, a lot of times I tell people your best original voice characters, like sometimes people will come up to the table and go like, oh, I do a really great Emperor Pilaf. I'll be like, great, let me hear your Emperor Pilaf. And it's like, it's a perfect Emperor Pilaf. I'm like, that's awesome. They're like, I want to be a voice actor. I'm like, you never will. Because I am Emperor Pilaf. And then I punch them. Because I don't want that. They were good. No, not really. I don't punch. I only punch 8-year-old girls. I don't know why. They bother me. No, I know. I wouldn't punch an 8-year-old girl. That's stupid. Just slap. Just a little bit. I know. I won't. No. Wait, there was a question there, and now I've lost it. What was the question?
You were talking about original voicing.
Oh, original voices, yes. So some of your best original voices can be bad imitations. If you do a perfect imitation, that's great, but that's typically the realm of comedians to do impressions. Original voice actors, like my Emperor Pilaf is really just my worst, well, it's my best, but it's pretty terrible, imitation of Edith Bunker from a show called All in the Family. Oh, Archie! Oh, hey, I'm Emperor Pilaf. So Emperor Pilaf is really a 60-year-old woman from Queens. But if you like do it, like people will ask me like, do you do Yoda? I'm like, no, but I do his brother-in-law, Billy Yoda. I am Billy Yoda. I know have force. I just throw things. Because I can't do Yoda, so I do his brother-in-law, Billy Yoda. Who wants to see the Star Wars movie with Yoda as a young Yoda, whatever that creature is? That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, any other questions, troops? Let's go here.
Hi.
Hi.
Couple, where did you get the Nina plushie?
Somebody made it for me. Some awesome fan goes, here, do you want a Nina plushie? I was like, oh my God, yes. Because it's horrible. It's not punching an 8-year-old horrible, but it's pretty horrible.
And where can we get the Star Trek series that you're on? Is that like on YouTube?
You can ask the great Google to give it to you, and the great Google will pass it to you in YouTube and or website. Isn't it funny? Like we almost don't have to ask questions anymore. Like, hey,
Siri.
just take a picture of it. I was going to ask you a question, but I can just put that shirt into shirt search, and then it will tell me where to buy it. Is that Mork and Mindy? What is going on there? It's a cat in a spacesuit with rainbow suspenders. That always happens. Yeah, let's go question back here.
Yeah, I got 2 questions.
I have 3 answers. One of them is going to be tuna fish sandwich. Go.
I'm sorry, it's just that out of all the, one of them is that out of all the characters that are seriously crazy, well, except for Austria, which one of the characters you say, oh my God, this dude is messed up to the fault?
That is Shao Tucker. Shao Tucker's the one who's messed up. He's the truly most disturbed one.
Yeah, when you try to say about the punching 8-year-olds, I was about to say, you already did that to Nina, so...
Didn't punch him, just made her into a dog. Fetch, Nina, fetch.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And this is a good question, and I'm pretty sure all creepypasta fans should hear. How do you get into the creepypasta video as Jason the Toy Maker?
Jason the Toy, anyone like creepypasta? Yeah. So I met him at a convention, and he was like, oh my God, I love stunt. I was like, oh my God, creepypasta is awesome. He was like, do you want to do a voice? I was like, yes. So I did Jason the Toy Maker, and then one other one, I can't remember the name of it. But it was awesome. Yes, Ora.
Sorry, I can't really talk. Did you ever do theater in high school or college or anything, or was that something?
Your voice.
I don't know. I woke up one morning, it was gone.
Yeah. Did I ever do theater in high school? Yeah, I started off doing theater in high school. Act, play competitions, and the
pretty cool. Did you-
forensic tournaments where you compete in humorous and interp and dramatic interp and duet, prose and poetry. I was third in the nation in dramatic interp.
Woo!
Went to the national tournament, performed in front of 4,000 people as a 16-year-old,
Golf clap?
which is cool because your bar gets set at a certain height. And once you do that at 16, you're like, I can handle it, whatever it is. And that's, that may be as good a transition as any to get into the sort of, the acting portion of, let's see how much time we have left. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Hold on, Jessica's texting me. I need to know what she said. Okay.
Read it out loud.
Curious minds want to know.
I'm gonna order food. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I love you. That's all you say. Like if you, oh God.
What was in it?
It was just emergency. It was just vitamin C. I'm trying to keep myself healthy. Wah, wah. But I was going to start transitioning into this sort of talking about acting. How many of you would like to be actors professionally? Oh, a lot of you. Awesome. Okay. So
I would, but like...
you can make it as an actor. You just have to be willing to do
Anything?
willing to fail quickly and then to change your approach after you fail. Because acting is essentially failure all the time. The auditions are failure most of the time. The rehearsal is a process of planned failure. We're gonna do this play wrong a whole bunch of times. And then eventually almost get it right, and then we're gonna put people in front of it, and then it'll be really wrong for a while, and then eventually we'll get it. And then it'll close, and we'll be like, we almost did it right. You'll have moments that you get right. You're never gonna do it right. So acting is failure, so you have to be ready to fail. You also have to be ready to do puppet shows for children, or dress up in costumes, for birthday parties, or work at a hospital, singing telegrams, working on Valentine's Day, doing Shakespeare sonnets, which is something I did. You would put on tights and the doublet and the whole, you would be, let me not to the marriage of true minds, and you'd do a Shakespeare sonnet, and you'd hand them a rose, and you'd be in the middle of a bank. It was sort of like a strippergram, but with Shakespeare. You've done strippergrams? Awesome. Good for you. Is that your girlfriend next to you? Your wife? She's like, she just looked like this. She was just like. So if you want to be the interesting thing about being an actor, everyone is an actor. We're all actors. Everybody on Earth, every live person on the Earth is an actor. Because nobody tells you who you're supposed to be or how you're supposed to be. You sort of choose your character. And then you have all these forces that, sort of work against you to try to change your character into what other people think your character should be. The first one is your parents, and then your brothers and sisters. Everybody's trying to tell you who you are. And that whole time, you're trying to figure out who you are yourself. And one of the things that happens is that you start to use your voice, and people start telling you about your own voice. They start saying, oh, you're too loud, or oh, don't sing, or oh God, stop it talking all the time. And the times when people cut you off, a lot of times are when you're the most passionate. When if you were in front of someone who was like, tell me more, that you would finally be like, oh, someone approves of my passion, and so I will follow it. Our voices are the first things that get oppressed in us to help us, not to help us, but to hinder us from finding out who we really are. Your watch was making awesome noises. But if one of the things we studied in college was that, if you were to scream at the top of your lungs, you could scream at the top of your lungs for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 7. If you're really, like if you're Troy Baker and you do video games, like professionally all the time, maybe 30, 40 minutes screaming at the top of your lungs. But guess when you can scream at the top of your lungs almost indefinitely? When you're a baby. When you're a baby, and I've had lots of babies, not personally. And babies can scream for hours straight and never lose their voice. They can scream for 3 or 4 hours before they start to lose their voice. And that's because a baby does not care at all what you think about what it needs or what it's passionate about. It's like, I need food! Why do I sound like this? I'm a baby. So babies have no preconceived notion about what they think their voice is. So what happens to the voice is you put stress on it in the form of sort of emotional repression, and your voice ends up being tight, and then you lose it. Or have you ever felt like your voice shake when you get nervous? Yeah, there's your emotion, your psyche, your personality. You ever heard yourself on tape? Yeah, you're like, oh, I sounded awesome. Let me press play. Oh God, kill it! Kill it!
Kill it with fire.
I feel that we all feel that way, but that's exactly what you sound like. And you're like, no, I don't. I sound like this. No, you don't. And part of the reason you sound different outside than inside is because you resonate inside your head. Your head is the big resonator. So you get comfortable with your voice. You get confident with your voice by sharing it. When you feel like, if you are really like, oh, I'm super shy, I can't talk to people, and then you have a best friend, and you and that best friend talk all the time, that is probably why you're best friends, because they listen to you. Because your voice feels free with them. So I encourage everyone to become actors of a sort. You'll all have opportunities to speak in front of people because they've done studies on the human body, and the most stressful thing you can do to a human body in terms of occupation is to ask it to land a $40 million aircraft on an aircraft carrier at night in the middle of the ocean. Nothing stresses the body, occupation-wise, more than that. Guess what number 2 is right behind that?
Public speaking?
Speaking in front of people. Any form of acting or talking in front of a group. That physiologically causes the same things in your body as trying to land an aircraft on an aircraft carrier at night in the middle of the ocean. Your body, when you're a first grader and you get up to be like, Charlotte's Web was there! To do your book report on Charlotte's Web, and you wet your pants and your teacher's like, oh, Billy wet his pants. Because he was terrified. Because you have a limbic system that kicks in that says, it's your reptilian brain, it says, run or kill. And that'd be bad if Billy did that. Charlotte's Web is because you're literally being flooded with chemicals, drugs in your body that make you more powerful and strong and able to chew through human flesh. I am crazy. Because when your adrenals kick in, we've all felt it, but you're supposed to, like we do no training and we just ask kids to get up in front of their classes like it's nothing, like get up there, do your book report, and we don't teach them anything about breathing, or about relaxing, or about how to connect, or about why they're talking, and we just allow their voices to be damaged from a really, really early age, because if you're up there and you go, I like Charlotte's Web, and you stutter a little bit, and everybody goes, and laughs because it was funny, not because they're evil, but just because, like, we like seeing people fall on their face. That's funny. It's accidental. Kids just are like, they laugh. And then you take in all that laughter and you're like, I'm terrible and I stutter. And then you may carry that stutter the rest of your life. So, but nothing is irreparable. Nothing in the voice is irreparable. And the best way to repair it is to get up in front of as many people as you can, as often as you can, to speak. And part of what will help you is knowing why you're up there to speak, what you're trying to achieve, what you want the audience to come away with. And the most important thing about any acting, almost anything you do in life, the most important thing is to take the focus off yourself and put it on everybody else in the audience, everybody else in the team. Like the best players on teams are able to see all the other players at once. And if they're the star, it's because they're feeding the outlet pass at the right time and then receiving it and then dunking it. You know, like they know what to do with the whole team that's there. They make the other people on the team look like better players. Scottie Pippen was not that good. With Michael Jordan, he was amazing, right? You can't deny it. Pippen would have been, yeah, he's good, but now he's legend because he was playing next to the super legend. So that's what you do when you're on stage. You have a partner, and you work with your partner. Like, you can make another actor look amazing just by pretending that they're an amazing actor. So the actor's like, I am going to kill you, and you're like, oh God, no! And you're like, that was so creepy, the way he did that without any emotion or acting. It's terrifying. The other guy overacted a little bit, but that guy who did nothing, he was amazing. So like, you can make your partners better by just believing that they're better. You can make everybody around you better by believing that they're better. The guy in the car who cuts you off on the highway isn't a jerkwad until you're like, that guy's a jerkwad. You make him a jerkwad. Maybe he was saving his baby who was choking and he had to swerve to save a baby. You're the jerkwad, baby killer. I didn't mean you personally. I just locked eyes with you, so I thought I'd call you a baby killer. That's what happens in Chuck's panels. Random baby killer call-outs. So we're gonna do an exercise now that helps you understand what it feels like to be terrified in front of people. But it also gives you the idea that if you have an objective that's strong enough and an obstacle that's preventing you from getting to that objective, and you have partners around you, you're gonna stop caring about yourself and just caring about the objective. And consequently, it's kind of magical. So I need